Zone 2 training, you should be definitely doing it if you're a rugby player and looking to improve your fitness on the pitch and outside of rugby as well. Now, Zone 2 is, relative to our heart rate zones that we've got. So 60 to 70% of our max heart rate. How you can work out your max heart rate, 220 divide or minus your age, sorry, and that is going to give you a rough estimate. Now, more often than not, you'll probably, if you are red zoning, you probably hit higher than your max heart rate anyway. So take it with a pinch of salt. But I think mine is around 196. Actually, it's probably more than that. I'm older than that now. 194. Yeah, 194, but I'll hit more. I'll hit close to 200 anyway. So again, take it with a pinch of salt. But zone 2, primarily, can we get between 60 to 70% of our max heart rate for long periods of time, and can we develop our true kind of aerobic system rather than peating off into our anaerobic and not letting the aerobic system develop? Why do we need to develop our aerobic system? First of all, it's going to be great for being really efficient in between high intensity efforts. So actually, can we bring our heart rate down in between those, and how well can we do it? Okay, if we look at the green line, that's someone that hasn't got a real developed aerobic system. They're not able to get those big peaks in the high intensity efforts, whereas the black line really resembles someone that's got a true well-developed aerobic system that can drop their heart rate down pretty quickly, recover. Again, what's that gonna make a difference? Actually, your decision making comes a lot better. The onset of fatigue is delayed a little bit as well, and that's gonna be real paramount, especially when you're playing games for 80 minutes. Bigger the base, higher the peak. Okay, so the bigger the base of the aerobic system, more efficient you are in oxygen uptake and performing these lower steady state kind of activities, the better. Okay, so can we be really efficient here, and it's going to allow our anaerobic system to be even more efficient as well in between. So actually, can we delay getting up here by increasing our intensity of exercise, but actually that intensity is going slower, but also getting higher. So again, these are just key little topics in how we can make sure that we are developing our aerobics. Got a really good aerobic base. Our ability to metabolically produce energy is a lot better because we can flip in between fat and carbs. If it's not, and you're not really aerobically fit, you're going to be very much eating into those glycogen stores throughout, and then we don't resort to those fat stores either. So that's another one. So zone 2 is very much aerobic system. Can we be really efficient, build a base? Now, how I like to do it, I like to do it off feet. Now, you'll be surprised, you probably do a lot of it during training on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Actually, your primary energy zone that you're going to be using, or your fitness zone, will be zone 2. In between stations, etc. Your zone 2 is always going to take over unless you are performing those high intensity efforts. So off feet is a great way because risk to reward is brilliant. It's not going to do much damage. It's not going to be much wear and tear on the body. Bike, swimming, rowing. That way you can really make sure that actually you are staying in that zone 2. Now, if you're going for a 5K run on the road, the likelihood is that you can stay at a zone 2 pace without just walking is going to be really hard. So, spinning on a bike at a conversational pace, 30 to 40 minutes at a time, is going to be a great aerobic builder. It's going to really set you up to win and perform more efficiently rather than just relying on your heart rate being up here. Again, heart rate, out of breath, making poor decisions, fatigue setting in, muscle cramp setting in, bits and bobs like that. So again, you can perform high amounts of off-feet conditioning where you are in your zone 2. I think the recommendation is between 100 and 150 minutes per week for a normal adult. And obviously, you're probably going to hit that when you're training Tuesday, Thursday and playing. But if you want more, well, you can do as much as you need. So adding in two efforts of 30 minutes in your week. You could use it as a recovery ride on a Monday or a Sunday, and then middle of your week, maybe a Wednesday, would be a really good shout. Another way that I like to implement zone 2 and to make sure that we are in a true zone 2 is using nasal breathing. So we're breathing at a real nice slow rate, really using that parasympathetic system and making sure that actually we're being really efficient with that oxygen uptake and not overusing the oxygen, because sometimes with mouth breathing, we're just uptaking too much oxygen, okay, and then it becomes really hard to kind of get rid of it, and then you see the spikes in heart rate. So I like to use nasal breathing as well if we can. Even using nasal breathing in like your rest periods is a great way to bring that heart rate down again. Again, if we can keep that heart rate down, everything else is going to fall into place quite nicely. So zone 2, very much down to your heart rate zones and making sure that we use it as best as possible. It's not going to take too much away. If anything, it's only going to add to your kind of tools to your toolbox, and making sure that you're a nice, efficient way of kind of actually developing those energy systems. If we're only training those high intensity, we're not really looking at that underpinning energy system that actually allows us to get up into these higher peaks and actually recover a lot better in between them. So that is a quick hot take on Zone 2 training, why you should do it, and hopefully that helps.